It is exactly 9:10 p.m. The city's absolute most famous, influential surgeon, Dr. Ethan Blake, is found dead. He's lying right on the floor of his own private clinic chamber, blood pooling by his head. But here is the absolute wildest detail that completely stumps the first responders. The room is entirely locked from the inside.
Section 1. Mystery of an Impossible Murder. Now, Dr. Ethan wasn't just some local practitioner, right? He was a massive media personality. So his sudden, violent death inside a secure building sends absolute shockwaves through the city.
So naturally, the very first place the cops look is the security system. Let's walk through this timeline. At 8:12 p.m., the CCTV shows the doctor walking into his room. By 8:15 p.m., he's sitting there completely alone, just flipping through some medical files. The camera feed is totally static, uninterrupted. Fast forward to 8:46 p.m., and suddenly he just collapses from his chair. Nobody enters, nobody leaves. If you're looking purely at this digital timeline, it looks exactly like a tragic, sudden fatal heart attack.
But hold on, the forensic report comes back, and it completely shatters that whole heart attack theory. The evidence gives us a totally stark comparison. The video evidence screams natural causes, right? But the cold, hard science of the postmortem proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. It wasn't a heart attack. It was a brutal murder.
So, you really have to ask yourself this chilling question. No one entered the room, so who killed him? How do you murder a man inside a fully locked room when the unblinking eye of a security camera definitively proves you were never even there? It's a total paradox, and it had the entire police force running in circles.
Section 2. The Hidden Trap of 11 Minutes. This is where things get so fascinating, because there's this young investigating officer who just completely refuses to accept the impossible. He isolates himself, sits down, and just re-watches that footage again and again and again, looking for any tiny crack in the digital armor.
And you know what? During one of those grueling frame-by-frame rewatches, he spots it. A tiny, almost invisible inconsistency. If you watch the timestamps on the wall clock in the background of the footage, at 8:21 p.m., everything is completely normal. 8:28 p.m., totally normal. 8:34 p.m., still normal. But then, right after 8:34, the clock suddenly jumps backwards to 8:23 p.m. The flow of time itself had been digitally manipulated. When the officer hit rewind and watched it again, the glitch was still there. Time had literally skipped backwards.
Now, the tech guys initially just brushed this off. They're like, it's probably just a camera glitch. But the officer noticed something else. It wasn't just the clock on the wall. The doctor's hand position slightly shifted at the exact split second the timestamp jumped. The video had been spliced, and this introduces a terrifying concept known as a blank space. It's basically an artificially created void in time where real, horrific events are masked by seamlessly inserting pre-recorded footage. It's like a digital invisibility cloak.
And what was the exact duration of that fabricated void? 11. Exactly 11 minutes of empty time. That number is the absolute key to the whole mystery. That 11-minute window is the precise moment the killer bypassed security, walked into the locked room, struck the fatal blow, and vanished without a trace. By the time the actual live feed kicked back on, the murder was already done, and the CCTV confidently reported the doctor was just sitting there alone.
Section 3. The truth behind the quiet face. So, with the digital illusion finally broken, the cops aggressively pivot to the clinic itself. They know the how, but they desperately need the who. Who actually had the access and the crazy technical skills to pull off a digital time heist?
They immediately narrow the suspect list down to the staff on duty that night. They interrogate everyone, the nurses, the techs, the clinic managers. And guess what? Everyone has a perfectly solid alibi. But the investigating officer zeroes in on one specific guy, the CCTV operator, a man named Nathan Cole. He's been at the clinic for 5 years, meaning he controls literally every single camera in the building. And under questioning, his vibe is just strangely calm. When they ask if he noticed anything weird, he just shakes his head and says it all looked normal. He was just way too quiet.
And the physical evidence that finally nails him, it's sitting right out in the open on Nathan's own desk. Just an old, unassuming hard drive. When the forensic guys crack it open, they don't find routine server backups. No way. They find meticulously saved, pre-recorded footage of Dr. Ethan's empty chamber.
The files match the exact same chair, the exact same lighting, the exact same camera angles as the night of the murder. He had built an entire digital mask, perfectly archived, just waiting to be deployed.
Section 4. Revenge of Stolen Time. Now, what's absolutely crucial to understand here is the why. A crime this patient, this methodical, it doesn't happen without a profoundly personal reason. This wasn't a robbery. It wasn't just random violence. It was all about revenge for stolen time.
Let's trace the tragic steps that led to this. Step 1 takes us back 2 whole years, when a horribly botched surgery results in the death of Nathan's younger sister. Step 2, Dr. Ethan uses his immense wealth and media power to easily cover up his fatal mistake. The lawsuit gets buried, the truth gets hidden. Step 3, a grieving Nathan doesn't just move on. He gets a job at the clinic and he plans. For months, he patiently records pristine footage of the doctor's empty room, which brings us to step 4. On the night of the murder, he loops that 11 minutes of fake footage into the live feed, walks right into the room, and takes his revenge.
So it all comes down to this heavy, tense confrontation in the interrogation room. On one side, you have the young officer who refused to give up until he cracked the digital illusion. And on the other side, Nathan Cole, the quiet, unassuming guy who played God with the flow of time. The atmosphere in that room was literally suffocating as the truth finally came out.
The officer looks directly across the table. He's got all the puzzle pieces now. He knows exactly how the impossible was made possible. And leaning in, he just delivers this quiet, profound accusation: "You stole 11 minutes." Boom! It's a statement that completely dismantles Nathan's carefully constructed alibi. But the crazy part? Nathan doesn't deny it. He doesn't panic. He doesn't even ask for a lawyer. He just looks down, gives this faint, sorrowful smile, and softly replies with this incredibly chilling justification: "I only gave him the 11 minutes my sister never got." It is such a devastating reveal. It just shows a grief so deep that it actually drove an ordinary man to bend digital reality to his will. And that brings us to the end of today's explainer, leaving us with this final, haunting thought. Some people waste time, and some people make time a weapon. Honestly, the next time you look up at a security camera, you really have to ask yourself, are you seeing the absolute truth, or are you just seeing exactly what someone wants you to see? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Stay curious, keep questioning the world around you, and I'll see you in the next explainer.